for coming out in this cold, wintry evening to listen to my dulcet tones talking about my favourite subject for the next 20-25 minutes or something, I'd say. I've been practicing immigration in Hong Kong for 21 years, and occasionally the immigration department sort of surprise you, and I would say that I've been slightly surprised with the adjustments that have been announced or partially announced last month by CY Leung. But I'm going to take you through it and sort of wrap it all up, and then essentially you can conclude for yourself whether it's good news across the board or whether it's neutral news, all things considered. Now, the most important thing that has come out of these policy adjustments is that essentially the Immigration Department have finally bought into the idea that attracting 10 million Hong Kong dollars, mostly from Chinese people, is not particularly advantageous to Hong Kong's economy, generally stated. Now, as I say here, the cut and thrust is that the intention is to attract and retain talent professionals and entrepreneurs from outside of Hong Kong to contribute to our economic development. Well, essentially, this is all new, because the last time we had any kind of policy indication from the Immigration Department was in 2003, when they introduced the Capital Investment Entrant Scheme. Now, the Capital Investment Entrant Scheme program originally was designed not for Chinese nationals, it was designed for other foreign nationals who ostensibly were going to put back then $6.5 million into qualifying investment asset classes, which was principally Hong Kong dollar denominated assets or stocks and shares traded in Hong Kong and real estate. And between 2003 and about 2006, that program was pretty quiet. There wasn't that much going on. Eventually, the very enterprising people that had the Gambia program, which originated as a result of arrangements prior to 1997, when Hong Kong was going through a brain drain, and lots of third world, as in a sense, Mickey Mouse countries were trying to introduce programs into their legislation so that they could attract the brightest and the best from Hong Kong, because the tanks were going to come rolling down Nathan Road in 1997, and our lives in Hong Kong were going to go to hell in a handbasket. So the brain drain basically meant that those people who could go to Canada went to Canada, those people who could go to Australia went to Australia, those people who go to the US went to the US. Those people who couldn't quite make it to those lovely jurisdictions ended up in strange places, potentially Gambia being one of them. Anyway, it was never a particularly attractive jurisdiction for Chinese to go to, Hong Kong Chinese to go to, until 2006, 2007. When the enterprising people that originally brought that program into Hong Kong realized that it was still on the books in the Gambia. So because if you're a mainland Chinese and you wanted to participate in the Capital Investment Entrant Scheme program, which was $6.5 million then, but then was increased in 2009 to 10 million, you had to, if you were Chinese, have PR in a third country first. So, you know, essentially that mechanism was designed with those people that went to first world jurisdictions and set up lives there and were then able to make money in those countries, and then were able to bring the money back to Hong Kong if you were mainland Chinese but living in those jurisdictions. It was never designed for Gambia, but the instigators of that program, who still had it on their books, thought, well, what we'll do is we'll punt it into the Immigration Department. We'll see if the Immigration Department will accept Gambia as a valid third country PR for mainlanders who, as a necessary precondition to participate in this program, needed to show that they had PR in that third country. And around about 2006, 2007, that gambit paid off, and the Immigration Department were accepting Gambia as a jurisdiction that would be suitable for the Capital Investment Entrant Scheme. So between 2006 and 2015, that essentially meant that altogether 24,000 Capital Investment Entrant Scheme visas were issued 23,000 of whom were issued to mainland Chinese residents who had PR in a third country, the overwhelming majority of whom got it from a place like Gambia. They got it from Vanuatu. Now, the trick about the Gambia PR initiative was that essentially you could get PR overnight. All you needed to do was pay between 120 and 150,000 Hong Kong dollars, and you procure a stamp in your passport. And you would then, not even a stamp in your passport, procure a letter stating that you had PR in the Gambia. And then lo and behold, you were eligible to participate in that program. So when you rewind what has actually happened under the Capital Investment Entrant Scheme, as I say, since 2003, 24,000 people have been able to participate in that program, 23,000 of whom are from the mainland, and there are 20,000 unresolved applications in the system that are going to be resolved over the course of the next 6, 12 months, whatever it takes. But it's clear that, you know, that big policy initiative back in 2003 basically boomeranged in a major way. So because that's sort of, you know, now behind us, and the Immigration Department have acknowledged that we're moving into the realms of a greying society, and I think it's from 2018, officially the population of older people becomes greater than the population of younger people. The government have decided that, well, we need to do something about this, so we're going to change policy. And now it's all about entrepreneurs, it's about professionals, and it's about talents.